Smoke coming out of your exhaust is never a good sign. It can be caused by quite a few different issues, such as a blown head gasket, leaking valve stem seals, or a damaged crankcase ventilation system, which is the case with the 535i behind me. So in today's video, we'll be replacing the valve cover, which has an integrated crankcase ventilation system. So let's get into it on Rebuild Revival. All right, so we're gonna start getting into the engine. I want to remove the air box and kind of check out all of the intake piping. And we're also gonna start getting into where we can remove the valve cover. But first, I want to replace the hood strut so we can get this piece of wood out of the way. So we'll just start by popping them off one by one. We'll do this side first. We're going to start by removing the air filter housing. So the plastic rivet right here, pop that off. Unclip this ductwork from the air filter housing. There's 2 clips on either side. And just pull the ductwork up and out. Undo this hose clamp. And pry this ductwork off. Remove this line by pushing the tabs and pulling up. Unclip it from the housing. Release this clamp back here. There's a few wiring harnesses attached here. Just pop those off. Now you should be able to pull off the whole housing. I want to look inside of this intake tube to see if there is any oil on the inside of it. Here's clean, which goes around to the turbo, then through the cooler, and then back around into the intake. Let's pop this clip off, and then pop this intake tube off. That does not look oily either. I'm gonna pull this Torx off so I can get a better look inside. This is a T30. Oh no, it's oily. I know some of these hoses are really brittle, so I don't really wanna take those off. Looks like this clip right here is already broken. Okay, so you just spin those. Oh yeah, I think this is full of oil. There's probably some special pliers for this. There it comes. Just be gentle. There. Now there's a clamp right down here. It's really on there. There we go. There's a sensor. Right there. That's very oily. You can see how oily it is down in there. Let's pull the engine cover off. Mine only has 1 bolt holding it in, but there should be 4, 2 in the back and then 2 up here. Now we're gonna start removing the valve cover. Let's just get this out of the way. We'll unclip this harness from this. And we can move that. So we'll disconnect these 2 vacuum lines right here. Pull these out of the way. Let's disconnect all of the coils and pull them out. We need to remove all of this wiring harness from the top of the valve cover. A lot of it is for the injectors. So we need to unscrew these 2 10mm bolts. We need to disconnect all of these ground wires and all of the injector connectors. Put a little flathead in on the clip and then pull the connector up. All right, now we need to remove this ground wire. There's a special tool or socket to get these bolts out. I don't have it, so I believe they're a 10 millimeter. So my 10 millimeter actually fits down over it. The ratchet isn't gonna be able to go all the way in, but that's all right. Before we do that, let's get these fuel lines off. Let's disconnect this just to get it out of the way. All right, 14. I don't know, maybe these aren't under pressure? Guess we're gonna find out. So the nut came off, but the line is still in there. So there could still be pressure in there. So I'm just gonna pry up on the line just a little bit. I think that's out. Okay, no pressure. All right, so I guess these fuel lines are not pressurized. So let's go ahead and take them all off. We'll just crack them loose. Pull this connector out of the way. On these, you just wanna put a wrench on this fitting down here so you can hold it while you loosen the fitting on top. I don't know if these are bent differently. I'm just gonna number them real quick, 1 through 6. We'll just go here. So we'll do 1 through 6. Make my life easier. So now we can just remove all of these. So it seems like the ones going back towards the back of the engine have more fuel in them. So let's just put a rag to catch that fuel. I don't know if I need to take the whole fuel rail off, so we'll have to wait and see. We do need to disconnect this vent hose here. Oh, is it broken? Yep, it looks like this clip is broken. Well, let's pull it off. So we're gonna replace this line as well. Now we can start undoing all of the bolts that hold the valve cover on, which I'm gonna start with these because you have to use that long 10 millimeter. A bunch of E10s. I don't know if they want you to remove this. Yeah, that's gonna be tough to get the back bolts. Look at this. I think they already took this off. There's a bolt missing right here. We're gonna pull this out because it's almost all the way out anyway. So let's disconnect these. Let's take this cover off. I think that's 12. This bar. I'm gonna vacuum all of this out real quick because I don't want any of that stuff falling down into the valve train when we pull the valve cover off. We're going double universal. So those are all the ones around the outside and the back. Now I can hit all these ones in the center. All right, let's crack it, see if we can get it out without taking the fuel rail off or the support bar. Just gonna pry up on this corner right here. Gently. I missed one. There it is. And it's hitting the fuel rail. So we're going to disconnect the fuel rail here, and then there's 4 11 millimeters. That is a 17. That can just set right there. I think we're free. Aha! She's out. You can definitely see down there on the sealing surface where the gasket should be, it's just soaked in oil. So it was definitely leaking out of there. We're gonna replace that hose because that clip was broken. Now you could probably see it better. Right here. I don't know how bad that is, but there is a little valve in here that could be bad. But anyways, yeah, we'll replace this hose as well. All right, we've got the new valve cover. We just need to clean up the mating surface all the way around down here in the center, and then we can put the new valve cover on. We'll just use a little bit of brake clean on a rag and just go around and clean up the mating surface. Let's go ahead and remove this line that we're going to replace because it's kind of in the way. Just don't want to break the fitting that it goes into. Just remove the spark plug tubes to make it a little easier to clean in here. And there's some debris that has fallen down in here, so I'm going to vacuum that out. I know you guys can't see that, but just make sure you get around this back side too really good, especially in that back corner. That's where it's most likely going to leak. Back corner and all along the bottom edge here. While we've got all this taken off, I think I'm going to pull the plugs since we've got really good access. So let's get the plugs out. These use a 14 millimeter thin wall 12 point. Nice and black, as expected. Ooh, yeah, this feels tight coming all the way out. That's not good. I'm tempted to leave this one in. Let's see how the threads look. They look okay. Ooh, this one's really tight too. Oh my gosh, this is really tight. Oh my God, that's not good. I almost want to just put this one back in. Let's see what the last one feels like. This one feels okay. Oh God, that one's getting tight too. What's going on here? Wow, these back two are really tight all the way out. Ooh. The threads look fine. Man, those were just tight coming all the way out. This one. All right, let's keep going with this one. It's scaring me. Oh my gosh. This one's so much harder. Praying to the car gods, please let the spark plug come out. Oh my gosh, I am so worried. Watch how hard I'm having to turn this. Okay. Oh my gosh. I'm sweating. And the threads look fine. All right, well, there is a lot of debris down inside some of these spark plug holes. And it looks like the last time they changed the plugs, they just ground down in the debris. So I'm gonna make a little vacuum attachment so I can stick down in there and hopefully get up some of that debris. Just duct taping this little piece of a funnel that I cut off. Yeah, see, like all of that stuff down in there. Just using this little handheld vacuum. All right, now I'm gonna stick a little flathead with the rag on top and some brake clean down in there and try and get the rest. Oh yeah, look at all that. That's a lot better. Oh wow, look at that. So this is a little bit more of a budget flip. So I'm just going to reuse the spark plugs because they don't actually look bad. They're just really dirty. So hit them with a little bit of brake clean and then kind of a finer wire wheel. I'll go pretty slow. So let's start with this one. Do the threads, and then I'll also do the washer down here because it had some stuff like jammed into it. Normally these would come with some anti-seize on the threads, but since I wire wheeled them off, I'll just put a little bit on each one. For when the next guy changes them, they will not get stuck. All right, this was the incredibly hard one, so let's see how it feels going in. Oh, that's going in easy. That's good. And we're gonna torque these down to 23 Newton meters. All right, now we're ready to put the valve cover back on. Let's just get this up and out of the way as much as we can. I'm gonna get something just to hold that up here out of the way. Got a twist tie here from something. Let's just get that up like this. There we go. Just make sure everything else is clear all the way around. Well, I don't know what I recorded or what I did not, but I got the valve cover back on. I got all of the bolts run in. So now we just need to torque them down. We're going to tighten them down to 8.5 Newton meters, starting from the center, working in a clockwise motion all the way to the outside. So those are all torqued down. Now we'll put the spark plug tubes back in. Go all the way down. Just trying to get these tubes to seat. There we go. I'm sure there's a tool for this. Okay. There are some vacuum lines you need to make sure are still hooked up to the proper spot. I see one down here that has been disconnected. So just go around and make sure all the vacuum lines are hooked up where they're supposed to be. All your connectors are clipped in where they're supposed to be. Okay, so let's put the high pressure fuel rail back into place. Like that. Got 4 11 millimeters. Make sure this is lining up. Just hand tighten that for now. Okay, these are supposed to be torqued down to 13 Newton meters. I'm just gonna get them tight. That's good. Now let's get all the fuel rails back in. And I numbered all of the upper fittings. Number 5. This is 4, 3. I think you're actually supposed to tighten these down before these bolts. 2 and 1. Now we could go around and tighten all of them, including this one. These are all 14s. These are 23 Newton meters. This one is 30 if you want to do it. I'm just gonna tighten them down with my built-in torque wrench. And now the feed line. Okay, that's good. I guess let's get all of these run where they're supposed to. So let's pop this off. Undo this. This goes around the back side in a clip. This clips here. This clips to here, here. This one goes there. There. And then this one clips here. Oh, these vacuum lines. So we're gonna put this new hose on. I'm gonna use a little bit of silicone spray on the O-rings. I just don't want them to rip when I'm putting it in. I'm just gonna go a little bit. There we go. Let's get that side in. Just click it in. There we go. This side, click it in, and there we go. Let's get this harness bolted back in where it should be. Push these back into their slots there. 10 millimeters. That's good. Now we can put the coils back in. Push them down and twist. And there's a little slot or a little notch that goes into the slot. Let's hook back up these little grounds. Oh, you know what? Let's actually do the injector. So the little brown and white wires go to the injectors. Let's do the back one. And this one. And they kind of just line back up in their spot. So let's do this back coil just to get it out of the way. Guess we can do all the coils. Make sure they're clipping in all the way. Okay, now the grounds. These are 8 millimeters. Just make them snug. All right, there's a couple connectors over here that I disconnected. So make sure you get all of your connectors plugged back in. We need to get the oil cap from the old valve cover. All right, so we've got this little thing. Goes on just like that. And then our cap. All right, now we're gonna start getting our intake put back together over here. A couple of the pipes do have some oil inside, so I'm just gonna wipe them out a little bit. It'll eventually clear itself out. Goes down here. Just be careful with all this because some of it is pretty brittle. All right. So we gotta hook this back up, and then how these click into place is you rotate them 90 degrees. You're gonna push the connector into it. Make sure it's all the way seated, and then rotate this 90 degrees. There's a connector on the bottom of this, so make sure you snap that in. That'll be on. All right, let's try and get this one in. So that one's seated all the way. All right. So I just got to tighten this clamp down, make sure this pipe is all the way seated in. All right, and then you need to bolt this T30 back into place right here. Now put this tube back on. You got to connect it down up underneath the radiator support. And then there's a plastic rivet right here. And now the air filter housing. So you've got 3 inlets you need to connect. And then make sure it goes down into its little mounts. And then these cables pop back on over here. There's 3 of them. And then tighten the 2 clamps and make sure this snaps into place. And then connect this vacuum line as well. Just gonna remove the battery so we can swap it out. Make sure to remove the little vent. You don't want to break that. Make sure you hook the vent up. We'll leave the ground off for now until we're done working. All right, so I've got everything put back together pretty much for the most part. A few things are still off, but I want to start it and see how it runs first. So let's go ahead and start it. I'm cycling the ignition on and off to turn the fuel pump on and off. There. Now that we've got the valve cover replaced, I want to take it out for a test drive, but I'm going to check the transmission fluid level first. I've only driven this around from the parking lot into the shop, so I haven't really got it out on the street yet. So let's check the transmission fluid and go for a test drive. So while I was under here, I noticed some oil leaking right here on this reinforcement plate. I'm going to remove this just so I can kind of get a better idea of what's going on underneath. So it's just like 5/16 millimeters. So that leak is power steering fluid leaking here out of the steering box. So not such a big issue. We won't worry about that at the moment. Let's just check the tranny fluid level. Okay, so we've got the car running. We're letting it warm up. We want it to get in between 30 and 50 degrees Celsius. Right now we're looking at about 27. We've got it here on the Autel. We've got our 8mm Allen ready on the fill plug. We'll just crack that and see if any fluid comes out. All right, we're just at 37 degrees Celsius, so we're about to be up to 40. This is about good. I'm going to loosen the fill plug, and I've got a drain pan ready just in case. All right, we're at 39 degrees Celsius now. So now I'm just gonna put a little bit of fluid into it and top it off. All right, I've got my pump here. So let's just slowly add in a little bit of fluid. There we go. All right, so now we can put the drain plug back on. And I already shifted through all the gears while it was warming up a few times. And we'll just make this very snug. All right. While we're down here, I'm just gonna check torque on all of these pan bolts. I am gonna be replacing this, but I would like to drive it first to see if there are any issues with the transmission. So let's torque all these down. Okay. All right. They're torqued. They're tight. They're all torqued. Let's also do the drain plug. These were 10 Newton meters. This is 8. We'll do it to 10 though. All right. That's good. And now what I'm gonna do is just clean up the transmission pan a little bit so I can see if there's anything still leaking after the test drive. So I'm just gonna spray it down with some brake clean and just wipe all of this old fluid off. Now we'll be able to better see what's leaking, how much is leaking, where it's leaking from, all that good stuff. We'll go put 20 miles on it or something and then come back and check. I think while I'm down here too, I'm gonna do the oil change before we go out and drive it, just to get some fresh oil in the engine. All right, so let's remove the oil drain plug. It's a 17. All right, now that it's pretty much all done draining, we're gonna go back on with a new crush washer on the drain plug, and we will torque this down to 25 Newton meters. Just clean off the mating surface. Let's also put this reinforcement plate back on. Now we'll replace the oil filter. I should have taken this out first. A lot of oil was stuck in the filter. So definitely when you do an oil change, remove this first because a lot of oil just drained down back into the engine. There is still some here in the housing, so I'll soak the rest of that up with a rag. Okay. Should clean this out. We're also going to replace these two O-rings. This one here, and then this one here. Got the new ones right here. This one. There we go. Pop the new filter in. All right, and now I'm going back in with full synthetic 030. I'm gonna put a little bit into the housing. Let's get a little bit of that on these two O-rings. We'll pop the filter in. Okay, that's good. Now we'll continue filling the rest of the engine. The capacity is 6.9 quarts. So this is 5. All right, and now I've put about maybe 8 or 9 quarts into here. And we're actually gonna fill a little bit less because I don't wanna be over full. So we'll fill it up to where we think is about 80, 90%, and then we'll start the engine and see where it's at. Vehicle status, engine oil level. Not possible until ignition on. Ignition is on. Please add 1 quart. I don't think it's that low. I think all the oil just hasn't gotten down to the bottom yet. Engine oil level sufficient. Okay, well let's start it and we'll see what it says. Measuring engine oil level. How long are we going to be measuring engine oil level? Measuring engine oil level. Forever. Okay, while this is measuring the engine oil level, let's go ahead and scan this. I have not scanned this yet. So let's scan it. We'll also do it with ISTA later on, but this I just had handy. Maxisys Elite. This is a really good scanner. Here we go, people. Moment of truth. Only 2 in the DME, not bad for a BMW. Oh no, the amplifier fault. This one I do have a couple of sensors unplugged, so I'm not worried about that. Let's see what's in the DME. This is probably because it was dead for so long, so no big deal there. What we got here? Yep. All has to do with a dead battery. All right, let's clear all of this stuff. Oh, hey, here we go. Look at that, right on the money. Okay, now we'll go for a drive and see what pops up when we get back. All right, we're gonna go for a test drive now. I did just get some gas and put some of this in, so hopefully that will clean up the injectors a little bit. So hopefully that will do some good. All the mirrors are working, the side mirrors are working. I don't know that I've opened this yet. That's working. The seat, everything on the seats are working. Now let's just start driving. There's a couple of clunks in the front suspension, but I think that's from the sway bar. Shifting really good. Yeah, the transmission feels really good. Steering feels pretty good. Let's take this corner here. It does seem like it needs an alignment, but that's all right. Man, that sway bar is clunking all around. I gotta fix that. But the transmission seems to be shifting really well. Let's go into manual. And let's downshift. Ooh, that feels really good. All right, we're gonna do a pull. I'm just gonna floor it. Woo! I think I would have burned out if the traction control was off. I think I turned it off. I think if you hold down the DTC for a few seconds and that comes up, that means the traction control is off. Let's see if we can get it to do a burnout. The brakes feel good. Yeah, we got to fix that sway bar. Every time we go over a different bump or something, it clunks around. Yeah, that's not good. The suspension feels good other than that sway bar clunk. Like all four corners feel smooth. Woo! This thing's got power. Oh, there's a cop. All right, I think that's pretty much it for this test drive. Everything feels really good except for that clunk with the front sway bar. I don't know if you guys can hear that. It's clunking pretty bad. So we got to go back, and that's the next thing that we're gonna fix is that sway bar mount. Hopefully it's not falling off right now. But yeah, I think that's gonna be it for our test drive. We just got back from the test drive and I just wanted to lift up the car and check on everything. This sway bar was banging around a lot while we were driving, so we are going to need to do that mount next. Transmission pan does have a couple of leaks, like that bolt right there. That is fresh oil. There's another bolt, like these two bolts there. So that means the transmission pan is leaking. Now we need to put all these covers back on over there and get that wiring harness clip back up into its housing. Here's one of the covers here. Definitely need to clean this out really quick and then we'll pop it back in. All right, so this little housing holds these harnesses here and then it just clips onto the support brace. So we'll just clip the harnesses in like this. Pop it up here. Ah, it looks like there's actually supposed to maybe be a clip holding this on, but there wasn't before. We'll just leave it like that for now. Now this can go back on. Put this little nozzle, it's a water drain, down into the fender well. And slide this under that side. Lock all the 90-degree turn locks. There's 3 here, and then this one here. Now we can put the lock in place. Now this little cover can go in. Just work it around like that. Now this filter housing can go in. Slide the tabs into the back and then rotate it down. Clip this rod in, and then there's one 90-degree turn lock here, and plug both the harnesses in. The hood seal can go back on. That just slides on top of here. There is one tab here at the end that you'll pop into the fender, pop it all the way around. This cover can go back on here. All right, and now the engine cover can go back on. And I'll be cleaning all of this. Ah, my one bolt. There we go. Put this cover back on. There we go. And we'll put our one Allen back in. There we are. All right, everyone, that's gonna do it for today's video. We were able to get that leaking valve cover swapped out, change the oil, and go for a test drive, which went really well. So thank you all for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, please hit that like and subscribe button, and I'll see you all in the next video.